presentation actually was very valuable to a lot of us at the school, teachers. So I want to say before he starts, there were several teachers who were very appreciative of his project. Thank you.
So as Ms. Knight said, my name is ZGardiner, and I'm going to be presenting on cybersecurity in Nelson County Public Schools. For this project, I mainly targeted email phishing because of just how easy that is to get into our network. So I didn't really start on this project until the first semester of my senior year. I wasn't necessarily sure exactly what I wanted to focus on, but like I've been doing cybersecurity competitions since my sophomore year. These competitions such as Cyber Patriot, Pico CTF, if anyone's ever heard of those before. So after talking with Miss Knight and other teachers, I decided I wanted to try and do some sort of expo to inform people on a lot of the vulnerabilities that they're facing on a day-to-day basis, just don't know it. So my burning question for this project was, what cybersecurity threats do small schools and communities face, and how can they be prevented? So my initial plan was to create a cybersecurity expo to hold either here at the high school or in the public library, covering multiple topics, again, to inform people on what threats they're facing. My initial idea was, again, email phishing and probably like just other general things that I see. Complications that I had a lot of were scheduling. My internship had a lot of issues with communication. I did mine with Jeff Harris at CVEC, Central Virginia Electric Cooperative. And I'll talk about that more later. And so this is Jeff Harris at the cooperative. He's the head of their IT security. And he basically ran through with me programs called Shodan and Maltego. They're on these two slides here. These are for enumeration of a network. And what that means is basically these two programs scan the network and map it out for any public-facing computers or any services in general. This helps attackers or even just white hat hackers or penetration testers be able to know what points they can access on the network and what computers can access what points. So for my first community service project, I did a presentation actually in here on both social media vulnerabilities and email phishing. I did 2 different community service projects, and both of these I use the method that I call the crap sandwich. So if you think of an ice cream sandwich, you have like a nice cookie part, right? And you have your ice cream, you have another cookie part. So a good, then but for the crap sandwich, replace the ice cream with crap. So you have a good, then a bad, then a good. So in this case, I figured social media vulnerabilities are more of something that people would be more interested in learning about. Because it's something all of you use on a day-to-day basis, right? So by doing that and then putting my email phishing afterwards, people were able to be more attentive to everything that we learned. Specifically with with the social media, I covered how you can geolocate where a picture was taken and exactly what device it was used. If anyone has any questions about that later, feel free to ask. Second internship, after doing that expo for students, the head of our IT department here, Greg Hill, and I started talking about our security within our school. Initially, we wanted to try and make a program, well, not really a program, but a more guidebook on whenever you have any breaches, how to best handle the information. This proved to be very inefficient for what time span and budget we had, because there are so many different legal obligations, such as if you have any health, you have to follow HIPAA and a bunch of other different guidelines. So within our budget, this wouldn't work well. Um, so instead, we wound up doing another email phishing training specifically targeted for teachers. After one of our teachers here, Scott Belcher, had someone performed a successful phishing attempt on him. Um, so doing this presentation, I covered, again, using that same crap sandwich structure, I covered smart home vulnerabilities, then email phishing, then Bluetooth vulnerabilities, specifically man-in-the-middle attacks, where someone can either just monitor or manipulate traffic between two users. So my legacy for this project, um, I hope that our tech department will continue to do email phishing training, because we have over 600 active emails on our within the high school alone, that can all any one of them can have someone click on a phishing email, and then that person then has access to our network and all of the files within, which includes health records, social security numbers, basically all of our students' identification. So it's obviously something that needs to be fixed. I want to leave you guys with a quote, with my quote of quality. It takes 20 years to build a reputation and a few minutes of a cyber incident to ruin it. Any questions for me? Yes. You want to pay attention to the content of the email more than anything. If it's anything that they're trying to push anything time sensitive to give information, such as a password, whatever, and you want to pay attention to how targeted is the email. Such as in my presentation, I used an example of a Bank of America phishing attempt. They used, um, rather than saying like, dear, say, you're talking to me, dear Zach, dear Zachary, or whatever, however they were going to say it. They said, dear member. By saying dear member, they can release that more widespread. Also, if you have any email that you think might be legitimate, send a fresh thread, email thread. So say, like in Mr. Belcher's case, he got an email from, it looked like Dr. Sumner's email, but they replaced one of the M's with an N. So it was Dr. Summer, but it looks like Dr. Sumner. So what he did, unfortunately he did go and meet their request of buying Steam gift cards and such, but he sent Dr. Sumner a fresh thread with the codes rather than giving them the information. That way you aren't actually benefiting anyone and you don't fall into their trap. You guys have any questions for me over here? Yep. It depends on how sophisticated the attacker wants to do it. It is possible to make an email that when you open it, it will get you, but not a lot of people know how to do that right now. Something to pay attention to, but it's more clicking a link. So they might say, a common example that's given in a lot of cybersecurity courses is you have a coworker send you an email asking for login information because they have a presentation due within 5 minutes and they can't get access to it. Sending that information, you've just given the attacker whatever information they need to get in. Yep. Yeah, people are very crafty with phishing emails. That's why I say focus on content. If it's time sensitive, asking for information, basically just delete that email. Hmm. So I've actually been offered a job at Foster Fuels. I was offered this last year as a network admin. So my internship with Jeff Harris was very good for that because he walked through with me how a network admin job generally goes. Um, I don't plan to go to college right out of high school because, like I said, I've had that job offer for 60,000 a year with advancement opportunities to 120,000. I don't see a need for it. But the experience that I've gotten out of this through presenting and trying to explain difficult concepts for as far as cybersecurity to people that barely know how to make a folder on a computer um, is definitely valuable. Um, yeah.
Job offer. Talked about your specific,
Hmm.
that you took those cybersecurity classes.
Hmm.
And that has been helpful for helping for
Oh yeah. This taking the technology classes and the senior project is probably the most beneficial part about Gov School for me. Um, I didn't really like a lot of the other classes, but putting in that work and getting to this point is one of the best decisions that I've made as far as being in high school. Hmm. Yeah, we had a national competition for Cyber Patriot. We do one for Pico every year. Pico, we place in the top 5% of the nation. Um, we did another one. We've done multiple national competitions, actually. We did one through Technology Student Association over the summer. Um, we didn't place very well in that, but we still got to go. It was fun.
I bring this up.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's one thing to talk about. Those of you who are in the RBGS, going to the RBGS, there are a lot of options. So what you program it is meant to help you individualize your instruction for your people. I know the first 2 years are very established for you, but for your junior senior year, there are a lot of options for what you want to do, and you should be thinking about those all along, so that in the back of your mind, it's something here's something like, I really like that. Really, to have an opportunity to really pick your passion project, really do something that's meaningful to you as well as to others. I think that's the big takeaway, and I'm really appreciative of everybody who's come today to watch the presentations. I'm so thankful for the kids that I've worked with who put in so many hours getting ready for this. And I'm going to say just